Hello, and welcome to the Self Love Witch Podcast. I am your host, Kim. This is where we discuss all things magic, beauty, womanhood, and learning through life's lessons. How are we feeling today, ladies? How are we feeling? I don't know, this Monday kind of feels very nice. I got a backdrop for you guys. I hope you guys like it. I'm trying to, get into a nice setup for you guys. I felt like why not get something that completely represents the vibes, represents me, sets the vibes right. So, burn some Palo Santos because I want the energy right all the time. Ladies, as you can tell by the topic of this video, I want to talk about glamour magic. Now, I'm not going to talk about it in ways that you may have seen a lot of people discuss it. I really want to talk about how important it is, how layered it is, and why it is so important to continuously do your glamour work. And doesn't mean you have to always have some run out spell and ritual that you do, but there needs to be some kind of level of devotion to yourself with the way this world is going and just the stressors and just everything. I just feel like it's so important to just protect yourself, protect your energy, protect things that are dear to your heart. Protection work within itself is also glamour work, but we'll get into that another day. I also want to start something new where I pull a card for us. I have this beautiful moon deck. Also, you guys, I started a tarot channel. If you guys are interested, it's called House of Venus Tarot. It is linked in the bio. So, I don't know if you guys are into that. I do some weekly readings here and there. Let's see. What do you have for me, my ladies? I'm getting this card all day. Both of these. So, a time to give rather than take. And then we have communication is key. We have, they're both new moon cards. One is a new moon in Gemini. One is a new moon in Virgo. So, a time to give rather than take. Considering this video is about glamour magic and it's all about self-devotion and it's all about self-love and pouring within ourselves. A time to give rather than take. It is a time to give to yourself, give to your beauty, give to your essence, give to your routines. It is time to give to you rather than to let someone keep taking from you. Rather than being of service to everyone right now, it's important to give to yourself. I genuinely feel that way. Communication is key. Let people know where you are about yourself. You know what I mean? I feel like it's time to let people know where you're standing about yourself, your process. Let people know how you're coming about yourself. Because I just feel like people in general are people are getting bolder as we speak. Just bolder as the days go by. Just bold and wrong. So I feel like it's very important for us to really stand on business about how we want to be respected, how we want to be perceived, even though it's not really our business, but it does play a major role into how we are treated when people can see how you treat yourself and how you come about yourself, right? Which is why I wanted to create this video, because glamour magic plays such a major role into our interactions within daily life, right? So why is glamour magic so important? Well, number one, glamour magic is the foundation of everything we see around us. Why? Well, let's think about it. You know how like we're just chilling and we're constantly getting like made to feel like, oh, I need to buy that purse. I need to get that outfit. I need to get that meal. Look at it. It's so nice. Look how they position it. Look how that's glamour magic. Anything done with intention to that's aimed towards people's perceptions of that thing or of that person to make them desire it is glamour magic. I feel like if we were to begin looking through the lens of glamour magic throughout daily life and seeing how important glamour magic is, just within daily interactions, but also within business, also within just everything. Glamour is it. We don't go towards things that don't look nice. We don't go towards things that don't look good to us. We're always going to be attracted to the things that make us feel beautiful, make us feel at ease. All of the energy that Venetian energy encompasses. You know what I mean? So I feel that glamour magic plays a huge role in not only setting the tone for how the world actually works, and so that we can get just more in tune with the energy around us, but when we devote the energy within ourselves, I feel like it makes us a magnet for those things. I can personally say that when I started doing glamour magic, my life changed. My life changed completely. I feel like how people started to approach me shifted drastically because, number one, when you do glamour magic, it's a type of consistent thing that makes you realize how important you are. And I feel like when you keep instilling that energy of like, I am a priority, I am important, I deserve these things, I deserve this life, I deserve this energy. And when that becomes a real, true thing that is embedded in yourself, people can see that. People can see it by the way you carry yourself. People can see by the things you accept, by the things you don't accept. People can tell. I want you to be very aware that people can see. The most clueless person that you see, that you may think they have no idea about energy, they have no idea about reading people, everyone has that gift. So don't believe people people who act clueless to intentions and strategies. I want you to know those are the people that have the most intention and strategy behind the reason they do things. So everyone has an intention for everything that they do, even when it comes to approaching you or how they're treating you, whether it's in a great way or a bad way. It all comes from the perception that they have when they look at you, the perception that they have when they are around you. I feel like glamour magic forces you to put yourself on a pedestal. Glamour magic is putting yourself on a pedestal. If you have that energy in your daily life, people cannot help but to see that you're on a pedestal. When you're on a pedestal, what happens? People have to rise up to meet you. Now imagine when I wasn't putting myself on a pedestal, people were treating me or attempting to treat me any kind of way. I feel like every woman can relate to this. You know, people just attempting to treat you any kind of way, making you feel very, all types of ways. And that is the the trickster there. Like, you, when you do glamour magic, it teaches you the foundation of defining your self-worth and your self-importance for yourself. Because if you are to go outside and you are to use how people treat you as the basis for that, that is where you go completely wrong. You legit cannot base any of your self-worth or self-importance or beauty or anything based on any outside source. You really cannot. People are fleeting, opinions change, standards change, beauty standards shift. Everything everything is just its own thing. You know, I feel like, running it back into glamour magic, you become this self-authored, self-curated type of woman. Your beauty is completely built brick by brick because you realize the qualities that you love and want within yourself. You realize the looks that you like. You realize how to emphasize your own features. You realize how to dress yourself for your body. You realize how to carry yourself as a woman because you are putting yourself on this pedestal, and you realize what you need to make you feel like you are the queen of your life. When you have that energy, it completely makes you not give a flying F about what people think about your beauty and how you how you show up in the world. But when you do glamour magic, you are aware. Once you get more skilled in it, you do become aware of why it is important to stay keen to how much perception shifts your life, especially the perception of others. You can use it to put you in positions that If you had not used the energy of Glamour Magic, you may not have been in. So I use myself for example. Before I started getting into Glamour Magic, I was in situations where I could have been dating, people were kind of not treating me the best, or certain situations I was in, I was accepting way less than I knew I should have. I always had these boundaries that were very strict, but when you're younger and when you're kind of just learning how to navigate adulthood and you're learning how to interact with all different types of people, different situations, especially going through womanhood, you learn as you go. But I want to save some women some struggle with this, because Glamour Magic will really open your eyes to how much all it takes is you putting yourself on a pedestal. You putting yourself up on that altar. Okay. So before I did Glamour Magic, it was just a lot of things that I was like, this isn't representative of me. This isn't representative of my standards. This isn't representative of how I view myself, how I carry myself. That's what I thought at the time. But in truth, I was definitely getting treated in the ways that not I deserve, but I was getting treated in the ways that I didn't have the self-esteem or self-worth to identify that, or identify the ways that I played a role in that, you know? So Glamour Magic really taught me to put myself on a pedestal. And when I realized putting myself on a pedestal made me feel, and how doing Glamour Magic made me feel, I started to realize the people, the places, the energy, the habits, everything that didn't congregate with this feeling here. And it could have been the simplest things. Like for me, it was I love waking up in the morning. I love my tea. I love my rituals. I love my beauty rituals that I do for myself, things that make me feel lovely, pieces of clothing that I wear that make me feel completely magical. I have my own way of doing things. That's all encompassing into Glamour Magic and all encompassing into putting myself on that pedestal. When I wasn't doing those things, those were times where I realized I was putting myself in so many different spaces and in front of people's faces that completely did not treat me in the ways that I deserved to be treated. Completely ways where like my beauty was nowhere where it is now. I feel like I wasn't taking care of myself properly. I feel like I wasn't exuding the energy that I know I have. I feel like just everything just was not what it should have been. But when I had an instance where I put myself on the pedestal and I took myself off and then I put myself back on. And let me tell you about that process. When you go from a period of doing your Glamour Magic and doing your rituals and then stopping and then coming back, it's like when a woman hits that point and she realizes like, oh my God, the way I was giving away my power, the way I was giving away my emotional power, the way that I was letting everything take me off of my throne and keeping me off of it for so long. This is why it's important to actually adopt a ritual when it comes to your glamour and when it comes to exhausting yourself. Because if you don't make something a habit, something else can very well come in, shake up the whole room, and that becomes your habit. I always talk to people like my friends and things, and I'm always talking about how it's so crazy how if you don't have structure or if you don't have a foundation, something else will come through and make it your foundation. Kind of like how if you don't set your own boundaries, if you don't create and cultivate your own self-worth and own self-esteem, when you're out and about and you're going through situations with all these people, these broken people, these people who don't treat you well, you're going to take all of that and that's going to become your foundation. We don't want that to happen. We don't want that to ever happen. We want that to stop happening. We want our foundation to be strictly the thing that we build brick by brick. I feel like these people that we encounter throughout life, they can have impactful changes in our lives, but I feel like it's really an issue when we begin to use other people's treatment and how other people, I don't know, use people, abuse people, when people just don't treat people properly, when we use those moments to define who we are as a woman, as a person, it becomes very detrimental. Because you let a 16-year-old dude from the block, that situation you were in with him or her, deter you from how you see yourself as a grown woman now. And I'm using that past reference because I know for a lot of us, trauma when it comes to our beauty, trauma when it comes to how we see ourselves, our self-esteem, our self-perception, it goes super deep. It starts from parents. It starts very early. And I feel like a lot of women, we get to this point where we're just like, hold on, I want to rewrite this whole thing because this is some nonsense. But in order to rewrite that, you do have to come up with habitual ways to completely reframe your narrative and to completely rewire your brain. This is why Glamour Magic is so important, because it teaches you ritual, it teaches you discipline, it teaches you self-exhaustion. Exaltating yourself is what I mean. It teaches you how to rewire your brain. It teaches you how to put yourself first. It teaches you all of the things that we are taught are selfish ways, self-obsessed ways of being, which honestly is the reason and the difference between happy and miserable women and people. If you take a look at the world, who are the most beautiful, carefree, soft life living, relaxed people you've ever met? Who are those people? What qualities do they have? To me, when I look around, I see those are, especially when I look at women, I'm just like, those are people who have found immense peace with themselves. They don't allow people to write their stories. They walk to the beat of their own drum. Opinions of others do not deter them or do not impact them. And they love themselves. Without self-love, without self-mastery, there is no peace. Glamour Magic creates a foundation for you to learn how to cultivate that peace, stemming from your beauty, stemming to how you show up for yourself, stemming to how you view yourself. Your self-concept is everything. Everything. People will attempt to treat you how they want to at first. People will remain to treat you how you allow them to treat you. And the only way that situation continues to be a cycle is by the things you accept. And the things you learn to accept is completely by how you view yourself, your self-concept. Which is why Glamour Magic completely keeps that foundation to a high standard, which keeps you away from BS, manipulators, nonsense, everything that's beneath you. Glamour Magic really opens the door for you putting yourself first. So the next episode of this is going to be about enchanting your mirror, and people wanted me to get more into Glamour Magic, so this is the beginning of the series for this channel. And this is also extending from my previous video, why self-devoted women live better lives. They live better lives because they choose themselves unapologetically. They created a whole standard, a whole way of life around making sure they are being treated properly, making sure they are loving themselves, and making sure those around them are loving them too. That's the key. And I feel like a lot of people make it seem like it's so complicated, but it's really not. It really just encompasses you changing your viewpoint and being very strict about yourself. That's the hardest part. Because if you are not familiar with any form of self-discipline or any form of waiting it out till you get what you want and what you deserve, it's not like you make a decision today and things shift tomorrow. For some people, it can work that fast. Some people's magic is really that fast. Some people's magic, not so much. But at the end of the day, the main point of it all is that when we view ourselves like this, all of this low energy, low intentions, everything, it can't meet you. Therefore, your life will always be to an exalted manner. Self-devoted women do this to themselves. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, thanks so much for tuning in for this episode. This is just really quick. I have a busy week this week, but I am definitely going to aim to at least post one more video this week about this topic because I feel like it's definitely a game changer for a lot of people. It definitely was for me. So I'm definitely going to give more on this topic. But thank you so much for tuning into the Self Love Witch podcast. I am your host, Kim, and I hope you enjoy this video.